Hi everybody, it's Tobias Keith and welcome back to another Caucus Challenge After Show. I am here with some of the cast from the Caucus Challenge Rogue Royale, so let me introduce you guys. The man of many words and many actions to back it up. It's JT. Pretty princess, it's my princess Shayna. She's got the brains and the brawn. It's Kristen.
Yes.
She's a vibe. She's a wave. No, she's an experience. It's Ava. Now they're not in the room because they're on Zoom. It's Lance, Deja, and Edarius. Woo! First off, Edarius, I'd like to formally welcome you to the Caucus Challenge. How was this experience for you?
It's like literally harder than I fucking thought. I did not expect like coming into this like that. Like I literally had a game plan. As soon as I walked in with the whole format, I'm like, oh shit, never mind. I don't know what to do now.
Do you think you kind of like fell under pressure, crushed under pressure? What's the term?
Definitely. I had just so many people I wanted to work with. Some people came to me. So it was really hard to like, shit, which person should I trust more, or should I that I feel like will take care of me? And there's just too much going out one ear and another person coming to me. So like it was just so hard to like, oh shit, I don't know what side to pick now at this point.
Yeah. I've never been good at these competition stuff, so I get you, girl. The Ava experience. We're so glad to see you back. You did say the last Caucus Challenge was your one and done. What changed, and did you have something to prove this time?
Of course I had something to prove. I always do. I had to come back because one of my best friends, Jess, was coming, so why wouldn't I return?
Period. You know, you just walk in with
Had to be
a
there.
competition with your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I won't do it unless Hajar does it. That's just my stance. Now, Deja, what was it like for you coming back after your return last season?
It was really good. I loved it. I love doing these types of things, even though I get hurt all the time. But it doesn't matter. I really felt comfortable this time around because I had like a lot of my friends there. So it was good. Like I was walking in with numbers on my side. So I was just chilling. I was waiting to see who was going to do what.
Right. How's your shoulder doing though?
My shoulder is great. It gets stronger every day. It hurts a little bit, but it's perfectly fine. I would just never throw myself in an elimination ever again.
This episode starts where we left off, where Adrian, JT, Kristen, and Janice advanced to round 2 of the first daily challenge. Before competing, you guys were told that the trifecta was in play, and the look on your faces wasn't too ecstatic, to say the word. JT and Kristen, how did you feel?
I felt awesome making my first trifecta, you know, as a rookie, my first season. I was excited, but I was a little nervous. I'm like, trifecta holds a lot of power. Like, we're gonna step on toes, pretty much. Like, it's to be expected, 100%. Like, just getting right into it.
Yeah, I had a game plan, so I expect to go into trifecta. I mean, I always expect to get first place.
Calm down, Daniel. We are not in a competition right now.
Listen, that's always been my mentality, though.
I'm the best.
In anything, yeah, I'm the best.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I win, though, so that's the best part.
Before competing for a spot in the trifecta, the 4 of you had a conversation strategizing about possible outcomes. JT, you instantly asked Kristen where her head is at and if she had any allies. You then hit her with what your plan was to target Lance. Tell me a little bit more about this.
How I want to play the game is always just, you know, I want to play straightforward. I want to not step on toes. I always wanted to work with Kristen, and I didn't want to cut people out that didn't need to be cut out. And I was always going for Lance first. Right. I mean, that's just personally me. He's my rival. That's how I think. So I just knew, I just wanted to get her on board and then execute my plan and just get it done. Right.
Congrats to both of you on the first challenge win. Kristen, how did it feel to win the first challenge on your rookie season? Safe from elimination, potentially having power, and being able to protect Edarius.
It was awesome. I wasn't expecting it. You know, I was like, I was my first time on. I wasn't too experienced. Yes, I've watched, but you know, that's kind of as far as it went. Wasn't expecting it, but like I said, it felt amazing. Like I had power. I was able to protect my ally, and I did just that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I feel like it's also kind of like, not an ego boost, but definitely like kind of encouraging you more because you did so well.
Oh yeah, the confidence. I was like,
I got this.
Hey bitches, I'm in this bitch. What's up?
Now, let's talk about the strategizing, alliances, deals, and of course the house deliberation. Lance, the trifecta is formed and you immediately start campaigning before voting. What were you trying to accomplish?
Just the talks of the day was very interesting. I just have to give it up to JT because socially, his game has elevated more than I ever seen him elevate before. Like, yes, he had his people, but for him to like wrap up Darius and wrap up Kristen like really fast, and a couple others, like, we're interested in working with JT, knowing his threat level, including myself. Like, I'm not even gonna front. I didn't come into the season wanting JT out. So when I heard inklings that 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be me or Clay going in, my mindset went into strategy mode of Lance. All you have to do is make sure that, hey, you control this vote where one of you are not going in, whether it's me or Clay, because the trifecta is picking me or Clay. And my other narrative was that, okay, maybe if the trifecta know that I'm sending in someone else, and maybe they won't put in Lance, be like, okay, we're going to just have to take a shot at Lance later. We can't risk losing a possible ally or some sort. So my mind went into immediate game mode, and it spoke for itself.
JT, you were talking some serious smack, and you were very serious about changing your gameplay and trying to save Adrian. Why?
Adrian's like family to me, so I love the kid to death. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure he could get it far and really experience the game. But like I said, I was really trying to elevate. I was really trying to change my game, my approach. I'm not just bronze. I could actually think and I could actually do stuff. And, I just executed what I had to.
I mean, that's kind of like what the whole competition is about, kind of like holding your own and taking care of what's yours,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
If you have to save Adrian, then you're going to fucking have to.
Exactly.
Before we start talking about the deliberation, I want to dive into the groups and alliances being formed. We had a lot of intertwined players and various connections. We had TLWL7 and, of course, the infamous MF7. We have like TLWL7 and, of course, the infamous MF7. Were any of these groups solidified alliances?
Yeah. In a way, I mean, like for MF7, we know we have our backs. Like that's just how we always think.
Yeah.
So I can speak on our behalf.
Yeah, like kind of for the TL7. So weird saying that. Yeah. But for season 7, it was a little more fractured. Whereas, we had the close-knit group of like the Roos, the Marcy, the Darius. But then you had me like on an island of my own because I didn't end on the best foot with a lot of them. But we saw a lot of commonalities and realized, hey, Marcy, you might not like Clay, but I got Clay. Y'all might not be too keen of me. We have to work together. We could try to cover ourselves on both the guys and the girls' side.
Going in, it's always going to be MF7. Aside from just MF7, I think it was like, just Damaris, Adrian, because, they're family. Yeah. And honestly, like, I would have worked with Lance, Kristen, possibly Ava, but got a little twisted there.
Yeah. Deja, what do you think?
As, they said, it's always MF7 for me. Like we branded out here, so I'm always gonna have their backs. But it was also working with like Kristen, Damaris, because last season, like me and Damaris, we didn't work together. But now that Sabina wasn't here, we had Damaris since she didn't have any of her friends. At least she had some of her family here. And then with Adrian, like that, I wasn't really thinking about working with him, but it just kind of happened. And of course, Lance, like I was working with Lance. I wasn't saying Lance's name. If you watch the episode, you see me asking like, why are they saying Lance? I wasn't really going to work with like people that I didn't trust. So season 7 for TLWL, I didn't trust them because I didn't know them. So I wasn't going to work with them. And then once I saw how deliberation went the first time around, I was like, fuck that. I'm staying with who I originally said, and that was that.
Right. And as you should. It's not expected that you would even do it otherwise, Now, let's get into this deliberation. This season being in the trifecta means you will not know the house vote until right before the elimination. No time was wasted when it was time to deliberate and vote.
It's time for deliberation, and this is where I thrive in any type of social strategy situation. I know people are scared to go in eliminations, so you have to throw out different scenarios to ensure that they don't go in.
So who wants to go in?
Well, I know. On the guy's side, tribunals voted me in. So, yeah. So, I'm going to put it out there that if I'm going to go in, I want to face a viable competitor. And I feel like someone should earn their stripes, and it's Adrian. So I would like the house to vote Adrian as the guy vote if I'm going in. I want to face Adrian. I want to face a rookie. So I immediately push out Adrian. And then I hear a little bit of inklings that they want to throw in Shayna. For me, Shayna's not someone who's really against me, so I'm really not going to teeter-totter towards that direction. I'm going to 9 times 10 throw my vote.
I mean, it's not going to happen, but you got it.
I mean, yeah, because y'all obviously got numbers, and if people don't realize quick, this is an individual game.
Well, what happens if we all vote you in, then you're just going to pick him, correct?
I don't have no say. I just think a lot of y'all feel that y'all higher on people's totem pole than y'all think, and then it's going to gag y'all when y'all see that, you don't really stand a chance.
Alright, any other guys?
No, I think you guys are good. We know what we're going for. What's happening with the girls?
What about the girls?
What do you guys want to do?
Who
are y'all voting for?
Somebody said me.
Yeah, apparently. That's what it seems like.
But Janice told you she was voting everyone again.
But why
We
y'all
vote first,
why
we vote
y'all
first.
vote Lance? What's the reason?
Lance. I don't even know where to start with the guy. I don't really care too much for him. You know, he tried to be all nice and shit, and then, you know, I watched it behind the scenes, and he's like, can't let Beato get past the first round. We can't. And then, you know, they get me into elimination, and, you know, this is definitely a different challenge for Lance. He doesn't have as many allies, or even allies he thought he had, they didn't have his back. JT and I realized we needed to get him out early, you know, and just make sure we put him up against someone like Clay, his friend, in elimination, so that's already taking out 2 people that are a team.
Wait, Rose, someone needs to fucking say a name, because obviously we're gonna vote in like 2 minutes, so you obviously have a name in mind.
I'll say it, Shayna.
I'm voting her out because it's round 1 and she already can't be trusted.
I like her, but you know, she has to go.
Why Shayna?
You can't
Yeah,
say Shayna.
because she screwed us in the competition. Like, we all agreed that we weren't going to tackle each other. We were going to leave it on the ground and read it, civilized, and then she goes in for the kill.
I have no words for this deliberation.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about this totem pole. Y'all knew it was coming. Lance, what did you mean by that?
They spoke on it a little early. It was MF7 no matter what. And then it trickled down to different allegiances. I saw early on that Adrian was heavy in that. Mike showed himself in the challenge. And some people like Darius, I was just trying to show where they stand. Because even if you look back at the episode, right before we even went into deliberation, I pulled all my TLWL people, including Clayton, and was like, hey, in order for us not to draw sides so it doesn't make a mess, the girls, we need to just vote somebody like Jess, because that doesn't show where we stand, and she's a rookie, and piss off MS7 or, you know, those people involved. So we help the girls out, whether I make it or not. And then with the guys' side, I knew if I really I would have held on to a lot of stuff that I had with people. I could have easily thrown in Darius and just went in and mollywop. But if I'm gonna go in, I'd rather take a shot at the alliance. Adrian's a rookie and he was involved in the new alliance. No, earn your stripes, and I respect Adrian so much throughout that day. Like, he showcased himself. So I was like, hey, if I'm gonna lose, or I'm gonna go in, or P's gonna go in, let someone earn themselves. So that was my thing. And my TLWL people in my alliance I created, also with Ava and Jess, was for us to vote Adrian. And the girls, they was going to decide whatever they wanted. But I originally said Jess, but then we pulled Ava and Jess in an alliance. I wasn't doing Shayna or Deja or Damaris. So my part was sticky on the girls' side, because if I do survive, I still needed to have the Dejas and the Shayna there for me.
Taco, how did you feel about being placed so low in the totem pole? Were you expecting that if you were joining their alliance that you would be safe initially?
I feel like I was at the bottom regardless, just because I kind of saw the duos within my own alliance. There's Marcy, there's Ruth, and then there's Clay and Lance, and then it's just, I know, I'm looking at it from my point, I'm being the smallest dude in the house. So I needed to find some way to have some type of elite, somebody who's aligned with some of MF7 or friends with. That's why I got had a conversation with Kristen about it, and that's when me and her, that's what I found my partner where me and her can try to balance something out and make our way into the finals as well.
Yeah. Now, for the guys' side, the house was between Adrian and Clay for obvious reasons. But when it came down to the girls, the power shift was insane. So let's talk about the girls first. Ava, you took the first shot and wanted to target Shayna. What was your motive?
So going into the competition, before we started, all the girls agreed that we were going to leave the capsule on the ground and we were all going to read it and figure out the math equation and then go for it.
but Shayna decided to just go in there, plow everyone down, and take the capsule and run. And that was exactly what we said we wouldn't do. So I felt like it was a good strategy for me to get everyone to go against Shayna, and it worked out well.
Shayna, did you know you were on the chopping block?
I didn't plow anyone down. I just ran faster. The truce, yeah, there was a truce, but again, if you ever look at the clips, like I'm literally on the side with Damaris and they're all talking, and I literally looked at Damaris and I was like, so we running? And she nodded at me, so I ran. Honestly, at the end of the day though, whether I was going to get the capsule or not wasn't like I was going to figure out the equation right away. We were under the assumption that I was going to take the capsule and run for it and like not give it
That's
to them.
what you did though.
I didn't because Marcy tackled me, so I didn't really get far.
Yeah, but like you still grabbed it with intention to like run away with it.
Because I can have a peek at it though, right?
No, you can, but we agreed that we wouldn't do that.
You agree with like Ruth and Marcy.
No,
but
we
I
agree
did
with
my
everyone.
own little thing because this is a free for all.
Yeah, but maybe we could run that back and look, because I'm pretty sure we all kind of had that going.
Like I said with him, you guys were to the side, and I was doing my own thing with my own people.
Right.
Just like you did.
Here you are in elimination.
Yeah. So, there's that.
Right. Lance, we saw you were really trying to rally the votes onto either Jess or Ava. And Ava, you were not happy with Lance burning a vote on you. So, Ava, can you just tell me your mindset on that?
So, watching the footage back, it really looked like Lance was trying to be my friend at first, and then he goes behind my back and starts saying, oh, we're going to throw Jess and Ava in against each other. And it looks like Lance's totem pole was upside down.
I definitely was against Ava or Jess, but I was giving my rookie girls options for if they don't want to draw lines, because the only other rookies, Kristen was in the trifecta, and it was only Jess was the only other rookie outside of my TL7. I definitely want to work with Ava. I'm the one who brought her the idea of with me, her, and Jess to vote with us so I can ensure that me and Clay don't go in. It sucks that I personally didn't want to draw the lines of Shayna, Ardesia, or Damaris, so I left it up to those girls, but I just didn't do it. I never was against Ava, and it goes back to even seeing her and Beato like speak negatively about me.
I feel like there's a lot of, like you guys mentioned, a lot of outside of the Caucus Challenge drama being thrown into all this.
I threw my vote at Ava because at that point Ava wasn't getting any votes, and Jess already had any, so I couldn't throw it on Jess because it could possibly put Jess in. So it was keeping me from making decisions. I guess I shouldn't have voted Ava because it comes across like, oh, Lance is against Ava. I should have just threw it at Ava. That would have been crazy. I threw it at Damaris. That would have effed up everything. So the only option was for me to throw it on Ava to make sure Jess doesn't go in and my TLWL girls get Shayna in without me doing any of that. I was thinking about my game moving forward.
I mean, that kind of sounds strategic.
In the challenge, it did come across really convoluted because of the clips I see you talking in, especially in like the personal settings. You just kind of like to talk about people and do everything you can for your personal game, which is great for the game, but I feel like it does affect personal relationships, and that could harm you in the future.
I mean, I've had my personal experience with Ava, and I've had my own problems. So I can see how Ava can see it from that aspect, and I understand Lance too. It's just like, it's fire with fire. It's just gonna cause problems.
Game wise, like Lance has never spoken about someone's personal. Like Lance has never said like, oh, I'm gonna vote them in because they're a bad person, or I'm gonna vote them in because I just don't like them. Like no, like there was reasons behind every move that Lance made. Especially when it came to like Beato and Ava, because he was always saying like, oh, let's not throw them in because of this and this game related.
No, right, I totally get that, but before the challenge even started, like Lance had come up to me and even said like, oh, like we squashed the beef from Colorado, so I'm like, all right, cool. And then hearing him vote me in after the first deliberation, it's just like, what was that? Like, you just told me that we're working together.
In the episode and here now, you still think that I voted you because I don't like you, or that it was purely strategic? You didn't receive no other vote. You were not getting another vote. Like, I still don't understand now that you didn't see the footage, and now you hear me talking about it, and other people talking about it, that you still think that I voted you to try to throw you in. I could have voted Jess, and Jess would have been in, but I voted a throw vote at you to make sure that your friend isn't in that covers our alliance.
That was never mentioned, or even before the deliberation ended, you never let me know that.
So I'm hoping now that it's like, you know, everybody knows everybody's intentions, and now there's really shouldn't be any bad blood. I think y'all should be good, and I'm hoping in the future when y'all are in another competition together, it's, you know, things from this competition or previous seasons you guys have been on together won't resurface. So we have to cut her time short because she has like a dick appointment or whatever. Bye. It was so nice for you to be here with us and giving us the tea, mama. Bye, baby.
Thank you so much for having me. See you on the next challenge.
Yeah, me.
You know, actually, as much as I love Ava, I'm just so glad now we have Mikey Poo back. Hello, Michael. Now, I do want to just continue from where I left off. So, Mike, if I have a question for you out of nowhere, I'll throw it at you. Deja, you were very vocal about a vote needing to be one of the rookies to earn their stripes. We saw you get into it with when the girls wanted to target Shayna. Why was that?
I feel that Shayna and I, especially Shayna and I, have paid our dues. We've earned our stripes. Like, we've been on this since it started. Why do you want to keep throwing in the big dogs when you know that if we win, your ass is grass? You're just on that chopping block. That's just how it is. Especially knowing that we have more numbers than you, and we've played this game more times. We're more strategic with it. So why even make such a big decision so early on in the game? So, in my opinion, I believe rookies need to go down there. They need to earn their stripes. Show us vets why you think you deserve to be here. Because some people come in and just for shits and giggles, and for the ones that play it on a serious note, like, that's not gonna fly with us. And you're not just gonna skate your way through it. Like, you're not just gonna, you know, try to hide behind the strong ones and then all of a sudden you're in a finale. Like, that's not how that works, especially here. So yeah, I wanted rookie girls to be in there. And once I heard Shayna's name, it was all bets are off. Like, once Shayna's name came out, okay, I will remember that. And when I get you out, you're going to remember that.
Her. Watching the episode, there was a lot of talk about how MF7 and their alliance would play out. But from what I saw, they were voting individually. Shayna, Deja, and even Easy each voted differently when it came to the guys. So the question is, was MF7 an alliance? Throw it out there. Anyway.
Yes.
We are,
yes.
but at the same time, we each are strategic with what we do. So we weren't choosing people that were gonna like come back at us. Like, I said Jess because realistically, Jess, no matter what she says that she was playing a fair game, even though it was one fucking round, she kept complaining about being here and like she wanted to go home. So logically, I'm like, okay, you're gonna go. And
that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example for what I say. Like, people come here for like fun and games, and it's not fun and games.
My TLWL people was not gonna vote in Shayna, but when Ava jumped it out first, it's like, oh, that's the voting block we just talked about. So in order for Marcy and Ruth not to go in, they went along with that. Because like you saw in the clip previously, is that we were trying to make sure that there would be Jess going in because of her attitude throughout the day. So we would still be in a good spot with MS7 and with the Damarises and the Adrian, so that we wouldn't really pick spots yet.
Lance, and I recall you in like, I believe it was episode 1 in the first round, you literally warned Marcy to not vote one of the 7 in. Like, there's literally
100%. And I'm a vet, but I'm a rookie in the standpoint of being an outsider in that aspect. I knew in order for us to make it through, me, Clay, and even I was here for Darius until all of that shit transpired. We had to do that. We had to not strike at MF7 until we're a trifecta where we can actually decide it. With the vote situation, you have to be careful and smart. Period.
Yeah. Speaking of alliances, TLWL and Clay were forming one of their own and talking about voting altogether. Darius, You flipped on TLWL, how dare you, one. And then backtracked and flipped on the trifecta when breaking the tie between Adrian and Clay. What was going through your head?
Okay, so I said again, like I already felt like my vote didn't really. I felt like my vote didn't really matter in any place because I was still trying to play my footing in as an individual player.
Your vote
Matters.
Your vote was the biggest vote.
But so with me just stuck with both alliances trying to figure out like which one should I really pick that would get me there because I really just again I felt like I was at the bottom with my own six TL7 because they all had like their stronger duo. I'm just like I know the weaker link out of all of them, so I need to find some way to be with MF7 and Kristen.
We had you because my original thought was for our TL7 and to pick up Christian and Kendrick because I felt like a lot of MS7 wasn't fucking with Kendrick. So that was my initial plan for us, and we would have had numbers, and we just had to tour, and I even told all of y'all, I said we had to tour and play and see where Mike stands. And then when the challenge happened, we saw where Mike stood. So that's when a lot of us was like, okay, it's a chop for Mike. But we were still trying to work things out as a unit.
Kristen, babe, I kind of overheard a little something while Lance was talking. Maybe speak up.
So what I said was that he was sitting there talking about how he wanted to get me and Adarius and Kendrick, but nobody ever talked to me.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you expect to get me when nobody ever talked to me? Like when I came in, nobody said 2 words to me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was talk of, oh, she didn't play her own game, she didn't do this, she didn't do that. Babe, I did play my own game. Nobody came up to me. Lance, you came up to me? You didn't come up to me.
I did talk to you because I did talk to you. We didn't talk like game, but I was like finally happy to meet you because we had did like lives together. And
yeah, but
like
that was it.
We probably didn't talk game.
No, we didn't talk game. So when I came in,
we didn't talk game.
No,
because the game at that point didn't really start. And then by then, when it was time for us to talk, you was in trifecta, so you was taken completely out of the equation.
But my thing was
I probably
when you
made
guys
a mistake by not socially talking to you like all pre-game and all that.
MF7, they came in, they knew their thing. TLWL7 came in, they knew their thing. So obviously I was I was kind of like a little straggler here, and nobody talked to me but Adarius. So we went into the first challenge and nobody said 2 words to me about a game plan, about an alliance, about anything. But then there was talk about me not playing my own game.
All my preseason interviews is about working with people like the outsiders, the TLWL, Clay, Kendrick, and you.
When I had approached Adarius and me and Adarius had talked game plan and we made an alliance, I asked him who his alliance was and he told me he did not have one.
But as we can see, Adarius came into the season anti-Lance, where I was overall at TL stuff, where he came into the season as my revenge is against Lance.
My other thing, right, was with the whole flip-flop with the whole Adarius and Lance thing. And it was like, Lance, I just feel like you tried to manipulate the shit out of Adarius again. I don't understand. Like, you sat here and you were trying to put into his head that he was all just a vote, but that's all he was for you too. And he wasn't that for me. Like, he was actually my alliance, and if he would have stuck with me, JT told him straight to his face he would have ran a final with him. But it was because of his feelings that he had for you, that you knew about, was why this whole flip-flop thing transpired.
No, we're not going to run that narrative because by the time we ended in Orlando, I assumed when we created the TLWL Alliance and brought in Clayton and seeing you and him talk, I assumed that me and him were good. I never imagined the stuff that him and Jay was concocting. I never tried to manipulate him. And Adarius, I would love for you to speak on it for yourself.
See, when I walked into this challenge of this season, Pride was not out yet. So I didn't know anything about what happened with you and Adarius. I knew nothing about your history. So I went and I watched Pride. You just did that same similar thing in this challenge. When you said, I don't know if he has googly eyes for JT. Like, why does it have to be that?
Why would he flip to another side when we had his back?
Because of me.
He was not.
He was with me, but that's why he flipped because he was with me and I was with him.
I understand it's for you though, Kristen. But I understand it's for you. But at that point, I didn't know that you were working heavily with JT at that point, Kristen. Like, seriously. At the end of the day, the situation with me and Adarius is a situation with me and Adarius. And I know for a fact I did not come into Caucus trying to manipulate because I was not trying to do any of that trying to be with Darius or make him feel like I'm gonna be with him or any of that.
Hey Darius, I want to know what you think about this all, because they popped off on your behalf. I want to know
We talked about this, Taco.
We did.
So say it for what it is and call it spade for spade.
I can hear me. After season 6 was done, we were start filming Caucus. I was not going through the motions. Everybody keeps telling me this and that, like how fucked everything was done. Then the moment I took a step back, I seen like, damn, I really did dirty. And I was still going through the aftermath of what really happened, what people were talking about. Because every time people be like this, Lance is this, Lance is that, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not like that. And then now that I'm starting to see within those time frame, I was still in the emotions of all that.
Other people are constantly speaking on your behalf, and like she's coming
because
around
that's how they feel. The thing is, I'm
not coming rah-rah. I'm simply stating what I seen. Lance, my whole thing is that you're sitting here saying it's between you and Darius. Great, yes, true. But it became a part of me too when I decided to bring him on as my ally. And he still had feelings for you. And we're going to call spade for spade here, Darius. Like, that's what it was. You had, because in confessionals before you whatever, you were all like, yeah, I'm going to fuck Lance over the way he fucked me over.
Right.
And then he talks to you, he whispered some things in your ear, and you went, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it did have to do with you guys at first, but it had to do with me too, because that was my game too. You see what I'm saying?
How does that equate to me manipulating him? Because it's not making sense.
Lance, that's the vibe that I got. Lance, that's the vibe that I got. And that's the vibe that I got just now, because when we ran this challenge, Pride was not out. So I didn't know anything about your guys.
But I have a question. Is that what everybody's getting from this? Is anybody else feeling that type of way? Like, I hope...
Relatively, yes. Because the thing is, I don't really care. He's strategic.
And
I don't care, I don't know about the season TOWL7. That's none of my business. But strategic-wise, knowing... what he had, like, Darius and him already had a connection. He knew he could sway him anyway.
Lance, like I was trying to say earlier, like, whether or not you meant to or you didn't or whatever, I think with J Media, since you were on back-to-back shows, especially with TLWL7, and then you come back on the challenge, you're bringing that drama from the previous show.
Mm-hmm.
I think just by the way that viewers can see it, and just people that didn't really know what was going on, but knew that there was, like, a little love interest going on, and just how you play as a player, and that, like, you're good and you're competition and you're strategic, that you could possibly have manipulated Edarius, because Edarius was confused, he was scared, he didn't know where to go, he felt like he didn't belong anywhere, so he easily could have clinged to you. That's just how I see it. I feel like whether you did or not, it's a good strategy, because I would have done the same fucking thing. But that's just me.
How I saw it was that Darius was scared. I literally saw it as him being scared, not only of Lance turning on him once Lance found out what had happened, but all of TLWL season 7 turning on him. And I can definitely see like how that can come off as manipulation. I mean, it was a great move on like Lance's part, because just like Shayna and like with Lance, I would have done the same thing. I see it more as Darius being more scared to upset the people that he was literally just on a season with, over people that he had just met.
Being on season 7 and this challenge, like, I feel like I can talk about it. Like, I don't think Lance, how do I put it? I don't think Lance manipulated him because of his feelings towards him. I think Lance knew he was up for elimination, so he was just trying to rally as many people as he could. Because, you know, I feel like just from seeing it, like, he acted towards Taco the same way he acted towards everybody else as far as trying to get numbers. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with his feelings. Now, maybe Taco's feelings persuaded him to do it, but I don't think Lance really, like, played... I could be wrong. From what I saw, like, I don't think Lance was like, oh, he likes me. Let me, like, you know, get that as a number. Because he was talking to everybody the same exact way. You can see it in the clip. You can see it...
That's not the type of person I am. And that's why it's hurting me more about the fact of me being called like this manipulative person. Like, I'm a strategic player, yes, but not manipulative. And that's just not my character. For me to a group and a series straight from this manipulative individual, it fucking hurt.
I'm not calling you manipulative as a person. The vibe that I got, especially after watching the whole Pride, I did watch the whole thing. It was just what I felt. Now, I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, I apologize, but that's just how I felt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a person that speaks on how I feel. It's not a good look. And it's the same thing for Pride. It wasn't a good look when you were like, yeah, he's kissing this person, but you didn't want to kiss him either. So you know what I mean? Like, that was my whole thing. That was it.
I know me as a person, and if you came across as manipulative, I do apologize to Darius, but you know it's not given that between me and you. I never once tried to be with you throughout the season. I say like, oh babe, come on here, there. But if it came across that way to the viewers, apologies.
Lance, we still love you.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, this season is absolutely no joke. It's only the first house vote, and a veteran is an elimination. How do you guys think that happened? Like, what?
There was no game plan in throwing Shayna in. There was nothing behind it. And honestly, everybody in the house that did vote Shayna, it was a weak move. It was a weak move, and you get no points for it. That's all I have to say.
I just think they thought they had a plan, and then literally just wasn't a plan.
Yeah.
Like it didn't.
Like Shayna said, they thought.
Yeah, they weren't.
They really just followed. They followed someone, and that was it. They followed someone that didn't have a game plan, that just threw a name out there.
Who was not a leader.
Yeah.
And who was in fact a follower herself.
They follow people. They follow someone who's not strategic. They play off emotion, and that was an emotional move for Ava to say Shayna when my TL people already had a game plan about who was going in.
Oh, yeah.
I know Marcy's smart, and I know she thinks sometimes, but like to follow Ava made no sense, and I felt like it was a dig because she wanted to start something. That's just my personal opinion.
And that's exactly why I told her I don't know who I'm voting for because I don't trust you. Like I don't fucking trust that girl. Get the fuck out of here. Like who you're nobody to me. I don't care if you are my friend's friends. I am very protective over my friends. So it takes a long time for me to like you, whether they like you or not. Okay? And her just seeing how deliberation was like going on and like the clicks over here and TL7 here and MF7 here with everybody else joining us, like you just saw there was no strategy. She didn't know who the fuck she was gonna vote for. That's why she was asking me, and when I didn't tell her, she wanted to get offended. Now we know why, because you're a follower. And I don't deal with followers.
Unfortunately, we have another person leaving us. Why are you going so soon, girl?
I'm a mama. No drama. Just kidding. Thank you all for having me.
Well, I'm really glad you came, and I hope to see you on another after show.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye. And when one goes, another one enters. Finally, I get to see her pretty little face again. We have Janice. Love the top, sis.
Thank you.
Okay, let's jump right into this game. Question number 1. In total, how many wins are there between the champions on this season? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have 5, 4, 5, 7.
Wait, 2, 4.
Then we
5,
have
6,
4,
7.
6, and 10. The answer is in fact 5.
Fuck! Who's that? Who's the 5?
I don't got names.
Damaris has 2. Lance,
you. Oh, Damaris has 2.
Deja has 1. See, I was close.
I know Deja. I know.
You won before?
It's me.
Oh, that's what I forgot.
Lance.
You won this last time.
Deja.
And
Damaris. But it was Damaris twice.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys were counting that.
I said how many wins total?
Fuck. You're right.
Next question. How many finals has Kendrick seen?
Oh, God.
Oh!
3, 2, 1. We have 3, 0, 6, 1. Then we have 1, 3.
You might have done 1.
And is that 3 as well? Yeah. The answer is 3.
Fuck. Damn.
We have Mike in the lead with 2 points. What show and seasons was Janice on before TCC? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answers. We have 2. We have 3.
Season
2,
5 and 6.
5 and 6. That means the winner of this mini challenge is mine.
Jonathan.
Shut the fuck up.
Alright, wrap the game.
Okay. Alrighty, that wraps up the trivia, and this wraps up this episode of the Caucus Challenge After Show. This was so much fun, and as much as I'd love to continue the drama, I want to keep it hot for the next episode where we find out the results of the elimination. This has been your ever charming host, Tobias Keith, and we're signing off. Bye.
Guys, no,
Bye. Thank you for watching.
Subscribe to Dre League.